Welcome to the Reality Check. Today's Wednesday edition. Yes, different from the norm. That's what we like to be here, different from the norm. Normally, we're Tuesday nights, and today, Wednesday nights, of course. So many things to talk about. We have to review the UFC 222. Did I get any picks right? That is the question. We have to, of course, go over California and the mess that is. We'll go over things like back to basics, some of the bones of our show, like Las Vegas, whatever happened with that. And a bunch of other things, many stuff to talk about. So let's see, where do we want to start? They have Jerry Brown, of course, violating the law as always. And now, funny how back in the day they were mad at Sheriff Joe for SB 1070, and you can't do this because federal law rules everything. Even though SB 1070 was an actual mirror of federal law. If you live in Arizona and you know this, Sheriff Joe would actually announce where he's going. If you're that stupid that you knew you were a criminal who not only was here illegally, but you committed a crime and you actually were on the same corner where he told you were going to be or that vicinity, then you are a moron that should be put in jail, regardless of what race, nationality, color, creed, religion you are. So that being said, all those people are out. Sheriff Joe can't do this. He can't do that. Federal law, federal law. So now all of a sudden, Jerry Brown, no, California law. Oh, we don't know, no federal law, California law. Now, Jeff Sessions, again, is walking with a small stick. What he should do is they should go and arrest not only the chick in Oakland who told ICE that told the criminals that ICE was coming for them. She let felons back on the street, rapists, armed robbers. She let them be safe thanks to her telling the criminals what was up beforehand. So not only should she be arrested, but if Jerry Brown has a problem with it, cuff him, take him down to the station, and let him deal with it there. He's a big boy. He's got big money. He's got those big supporters, so they can help him out. It's really ridiculous. Jerry Brown violates the law, constantly in California. The one thing that government is here to do is to keep you safe. Otherwise, as a country, we have nothing. If you're not safe, you have nothing. If you're not safe, who cares if you're making $1 million or somebody could just shoot you anytime, and now people can somewhat, but, we need to have safety. That's the first thing. That's the first thing you need, safety as a country. Otherwise, there's nothing. Why am I going to go out and bust my ass every day if somebody could just squat in my house when they want and take it over? Again, Jerry Brown is totally wrong. California is totally wrong. You're protecting sanctuary cities. Again, please don't get confused at what they are. They are not this place where they're saving the poor indigent who came here and just wants to work. That's not what a sanctuary city is. Sanctuary cities protect criminals. Yes, there are people that aren't criminals in them. I'm not saying everybody, but they protect it. If you've been in trouble for touching underage, you're a child molester, and you're an illegal, you can go to that sanctuary city and hide, and they will protect you. That's what a sanctuary city is. It protects criminals. So just because it does some functions that aren't that, doesn't mean that is what it does. It protects criminals. That's why it should be illegal, and goodbye. And anybody who claims they're a sanctuary city, any state, any city, any jurisdiction, immediate arrest should be had for that official, because they are definitely not only against the Constitution, but against the safety of the American people. And like I said, that is the number one function of our government, is the safety of the American people. Now we have social media websites, right? Everyone uses them. Everyone's part of them. And you see a lot of them. And we won't name, the one with the bird, or, one with a certain letter, or, maybe this one or that one. We won't name these social media websites. But what you got to know is these people are, if they don't like what you're saying, they're fine, like Twitter shadow bans you. Oops. Sorry, did I say Twitter? Anyway, you get shadow banned. I know, because it's happened to me. Because they don't agree with what you're saying. Now, people say that they can do that, it's their business, and that's true. It is their business, they can do that. But I think that I think that anybody who had a good lawyer can go into court and sue them and win lots of money. Because here's the deal. It's like anything else in life. Let's say you were in your front lawn and you're naked in your front lawn with your wife, and you know what you're doing, and somebody clicks a few camera stills of that, or maybe they videotape the whole thing and then they post it up online, and now you're going to go sue them and say, hey, that was my property, you took those pictures of me, that's illegal. And what does the judge do? The judge laughs you out of court because you are in your front lawn and it's clear to the street. They're not on your property taking those pictures. There is no how do I put this good? There's no realistic thought that you would have privacy out there. You can't assume that you'd have privacy out there. No realistic person would, because you're in your front area. Now, let's say you were inside your house, you were in your bathroom, and you're going to the bathroom. Now, if you're in your bathroom, going to your bathroom, you would have expectations that you're private, that you have privacy. That's what you'd have expectations of. So if somebody found a way to look through the top of your window and got in your backyard and put a camera down with a long lens and took a picture of you on your toilet, that would be an invasion of your privacy, because the judge would say you had a realistic expectation that that was a private place, and this person invaded that. So when you're on these social media websites, like one, or you're posting videos or whatnot, or you're building your business, you have an expectation that it goes out to people. As you build it, it goes out to more people as you tack on numbers on your social media. And they're in all these social media places, put advertising on what you do, and they get paid through that. So they love it when you have more friends or more likes or more this and that, because their advertisers pay them more. And sometimes in certain websites, they split the money with you, and others they don't. But that's what your expectation is. You build your thing, people like you, people don't. But as you build it, some of the websites share money with you, others don't, but you know what you get for it. You get this service and that. That's your expectation. So if you've put your work into that and you've built your business on that, that's a line of communication, a line of sales or something for you. And then they come around, and this can go with selling websites too, and they come around and take that away because they don't agree with something. Not that it violates any realistic law. Here you have some guy talking about murder and they're going to jihad you and stuff, and that's okay to post on there. But you're talking about, I believe that, maybe President Obama was the worst president in the history of America. You might not agree with that. I mean, but to kick somebody off a website for that is ridiculous, because you're not telling them when they join that website, only these views apply. You know what? It doesn't say anywhere on any of these websites, you're only allowed to talk positive about this person or that. They didn't break it down. So you're building your business in good faith. You're building something, and you can say something that somebody doesn't agree with them. Gone. You're gone. Like that. And that's your expectation. Your expectation is that you're treated fairly, and you're allowed to say certain stuff as long as it's not threats, violence. You know the deal. That's common language in any contract or anything you go. So when these social media websites do that and they take away your business, this hurts you. It hurts you if that's your business on it. And it's just like other websites or somebody leaving a review on you. That damages you. That costs you money. So I think if you had a good lawyer, you can actually go upon that in a court, and you would have a good shot at winning, because there are certain expectations. And until they post that up, just like news stations or whatever, we only agree with this opinion, that's what we're reporting on, and all our stories are going to be skewed this way. Until you put that on there, like you have warning labels on everything else, or signs, you're just lying to people, and you're being dishonest, and you're ruining what they had an expectation of it was, because it's not posted there. And I guarantee these social media websites will never post that, because then they'd lose half of their customers, and that would lose their ad revenue and all that stuff. And especially some of these have stock out, it would really hurt them a lot. They'd lose money. And that's when this stuff will stop, is when somebody gets sued and stuff like that, they'll lose their money. So today I was at a store. I know, shocking. But I was at the store today. I saw they had like about 6 different special edition Times, special edition this, special that, whatever Times magazine. I guess Times are getting desperate. They needed to pull out 6 magazines right now. But one caught my eye. It was on the lowest shelf of all, and I could see why. It was a Special Times Women Changing the World edition. Now, nothing shocking, of course. There were big pictures and little pictures of women. There was about 6 women on the front cover. And, of course, the 2 biggest pictures were Oprah Winfrey and Hillary Clinton. Now, there's a little picture of Ellen DeGenerate, whatever her name is. And she was there too. Like, one, I don't really know what Ellen DeGeneres has done for women, to be honest. She hosts a show on TV. I mean, really, she has her name on some slot machines in Vegas. She did one of the poorest interviews I ever saw with the security guard from the Las Vegas shooting. She's not a great journalist. She's not, I mean, she came out as a lesbian. Does that mean she's done things for women? I mean, where's gold in my ear at? You know what I mean? Come on, seriously. But putting her aside, because she was only a small picture on that, yeah, those 2 big pictures, Oprah and Hillary. Now, firstly, Oprah Winfrey, you can say, I mean, she's done a lot for women because she's been on TV, whatever. She had a powerful show, but you saw that was something that was propped up and fake. I mean, everybody knows Oprah was a fraud. Not because I'm talking about things she did as far as the show, with the fake crying in the book club. We all know that. Just random crap. People believe that, whatever. But, yeah, you cry at every book you read. Oh, my God, it aches your heart, blah, 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 blah. As your servant's bringing you tea, please. So, Oprah Winfrey, though, she had this show with mega ratings. And the minute she brought it to her own network and cable, you saw the show flopped. It was the same show she had. It flopped. So they took it off her channel right away. And now, if you look at her channel, yeah, it's a good channel to watch because it's got almost all the independent discoveries. The crime shows are on there. The real crime shows are on her network. Why? Because her network didn't have sustainable programming. And you saw her show didn't exist when it was on cable. And why was that? Any good show that comes from TV and goes to cable will have a good following audience. Here was her show, #1 rated by far, most watched show when it was on regular TV. And now it goes to cable and you couldn't even get enough audience to break even on it. How could that be? It's because all the people that said were watching it really weren't. It was just another arm of the media, another with the fake ratings that we have no way to check who's really, oh, this show's great. You hear these shows are so great, and then you don't even know anybody who watches them. Who is it the people that they're surveying on this stuff? And now we have better technology. I'm sure they know more accurately who's watching it. But it was a fraud. And Oprah is not a nice person. You've heard all the stuff, her in the purse shop and whatnot. I mean, her show was not for the educated, I'll say, because, I mean, they did stuff. They gave out cars and didn't pay the tax and then left people to pay that bill. And yeah, they should be grateful they got a car. But, I mean, if you're a show, you do the research, you take care of that. This wasn't a local, like, Richard Bay type show in New Jersey, which nobody ever heard of, predating Jerry Springer. This is a national show. She was a powerhouse. And she did the same thing when Oprah brought on a guest from, the guy that was burning all the OJ stuff. He bought it and he was going to burn it to show people OJ is worthless. The same guy who beat his wife and didn't pay his child support. That's the type of guest that 5 minutes of internet research could have stopped and saw, wow, this guy is worthless. Did Oprah show do that? No. Is she responsible for everything on it? No, but she's in charge of it, and she's going to run our country. She couldn't even run her own TV show. Just saying that. But what she's done great for women, I really don't know. I know what she's done great for herself, for her friends. I mean, I'll admit she's pretty amazing. She got some dude who's bald and fat telling me how to grow hair and get slim. So she got that guy a show. I mean, that's pretty impressive. But that's all she's done. That's not for women. That's for, well, he's not really a man, Dr. Phil, but whatever. Now, Hillary Clinton, really, on the front cover of the special time edition of Women Changing the World. Can someone tell me, don't all speak at once, but can someone tell me what Hillary has done that's changed the world? I mean, to me, the biggest thing she's done, like, her fraudulent presidential run where they stiffed Bernie Sanders and ripped him off, her Benghazi, what difference does it make? Stuff like that, the most known things she's done or amazing things she's done, none of them have changed the world for the good. I mean, what is it that Hillary Clinton's done? You can say Bill Clinton was amazing, he was a great president, whatever. I don't agree with it, but okay, you could say Bill Clinton changed the world. But what has Hillary Clinton done to change the world? Basically what? Somebody died for her to get a seat in New York. Then she ran against some no-name at the time, Barack Obama, and he just knocked the block off. Then she was a failed, State Department, failed, that was a fail. Then she went to run again, and she couldn't even beat Bernie Sanders, the Seltzer man. She had to cheat in the primaries just to beat the Seltzer man. And now she cheated and beat him, and then there was so much voter fraud going on, she still couldn't beat Trump, who everyone says is the worst candidate ever, and she still lost to him. I mean, literally, like Obama's great line of how ISIS was the JV team. Hillary Clinton couldn't even beat the JV team. And we're supposed to say that she is one of the most influential women in the world that have changed the world. Who's buying this crap? I mean, seriously, she's not even amazing. She's just somebody who's lived off the coattail of another and done nothing herself. She's done nothing herself, Hillary Clinton. It's the facts. Nobody. What is the great thing she's made or done or invented or authored or issued or accomplished? That's the face of women. I can't think of it. I don't know what it is. Maybe everybody's smarter than me and knows. I don't know. So now let's see here. UFC 222. Let's do the review of that. Happened this last Saturday. Now it was a card that had ups and downs for me personally, and of course my predictions didn't do so well on. So the first fight of the night, Kat Zingano versus Keelan Vieira. Now Vieira was 9-0, Zingano was 9-2, and I had Zingano by a third round TKO, just her power, her, just coming at it. And, the one thing that scared me about my prediction is that Kat hadn't fought in a long time. And she came out and I was saying that she looked sloppy. She just looked sloppy. Her hands were all over the place. She looked frazzled for a while. Like, she just looked sloppy. And, Catlin was good. She, withhold all of the charges and whatnot from Kat Zingano. And Kat Zingano, she was just, like I said, she looked sloppy and she was just a little bit outclassed there. But Catlin, she's tough. She proved herself tough. And Kat Zingano was tough. She took the beating. She kept on coming. She kept on trying to press. And she lost by split decision, Kat Zingano. So Catlin moves on. She's 10-0 now, and I think she's going to have a shot at fighting for the belt. But Kat Zingano looked sloppy. It was just like ring rust, I guess you could say, or octagon rust. She just hadn't fought for years. I think she'll be back, and I think she'll look better in next fight, Zingano. But I mean, Ketlin looked good. She definitely validated her 9-0 record to make it 10-0, and that was a good win for her. Next fight was the Stefan Struve, the skyscraper, versus Andrei Arlovski. And, the one thing you got to say is we definitely thought there would be a knockout. And I thought that Struve would knock out Arlovski in the second round because Arlovski's chin has always been suspect. And, of course, recently because he's getting older in his career. But the one thing that when you watch Struve is like so frustrating. If anybody, this guy is like 6'11". He's 6'11", and I mean it's just frustrating because like he's a good guy, and it seems like nobody's ever taught this guy how to use his reach. People always get into his wheelhouse and hit him and hit him and hit him with the reach he has. I mean, this guy's got at least 5 inches reach. He's got the long arms, not only to go with the height. He's got such long arms. Like, how do people even get in there without him hitting them? Just, learn how to use the jab, stick, move, use the jab, use the jab. I mean, you don't even have to move around a lot at that height with the angles you're going to get on people with your arms, and just everybody seems to come in and hit him. It's like his height is no factor at all. His reach is no factor at all. It's amazing. If they taught him how to use that like the way John Jones does, he uses his length, keeps you at a distance, moves around and stuff. If Struve could even accomplish half of that, I mean, he would dominate so many fights. It's just crazy. Like you see when Struve is fighting, his base is never wide in his legs. His legs are always like together, and then anybody can take him down. If he has, with the leg length he has, and if he kept them wide, and anybody coming down him with those long arms, I mean, he'd be able to just start pounding on somebody if they tried to shoot in and take him down. But for some reason, for Struve, I don't know if he just doesn't want to listen to people or, I don't know. Anyway, ended up being a decision for Arlovski, which is good in a way because we like Arlovski and that will continue to keep his career on. It was decent. Arlovski did what he needed to do. He imposed his will on Struve, and he, implemented his game plan to try to just get in, hit him, touch him, take him down, wear him out, and Struve, just like I said, didn't use any of the gifts that God gave him as far as height and length. And so, like I said, Arlovski wins. Next fight was probably the most unique fight in a while I've seen, and interesting. It was the Sean O'Malley, who was 9-0 against Andre Sukhamath, or 12-5. And in the first round, it looked like Andre hurt his leg. And then O'Malley was just much quicker. He looked like on another speed than Andre was. He was just, the Asian sensation just looked half a step slower than O'Malley. O'Malley would hit him, duck, spin, kick, whatnot. And then it was like the third round, and it looks like O'Malley kicked him, and it seemed like he broke his foot. And he couldn't even stand on that. And I don't know why Andre wasn't making him stand. He actually laid on top of him and was just trying to hit him, and hit O'Malley. I mean, it was just silly. Like, Andre should have just made him stand up because he couldn't stand up. I mean, you saw O'Malley could not stand up. All he had to do was keep it standing and keep swinging him, and he kept on going down on top of him. And I'm sure he won that round, but at that time, O'Malley had won the first 2 rounds. So he needed to knock him out, at least stand up and maybe make the medical team look at that foot and think, hey, you can't go on. This fight's over. And he did a bad job of not doing that. I mean, you don't want to win that way, but still, you had that advantage of standing up. And it was a unanimous decision for O'Malley, so he moves to 10-0, but I'm sure he'll be out for a while. His foot wasn't broke, but I think he ripped some ligaments in that. Next fight was Frankie Edgar versus Brian Ortega. Frankie had never been knocked out, and he had never been submitted. And we know Ortega is nicknamed T-City because it's for the triangles he throws up and gets you in a bunch of submissions. I've said one day Ortega will be champ. He's that good. He's 13-0 coming into this, and he's beat people in many ways. And it was kind of like Frankie came out, was hitting him, just little shots, in, out, in, out. And I think it's at the point of his career now. He's been fighting for such a long time, and it's worn on him a little bit. He's just a little bit slower than he used to be. I mean, he used to be lightning quick, and now he's still faster than most people, but just not that lightning quick. And he was tagging Ortega with little shots, just, striking in, out, like Frankie does. And Ortega just unloaded an elbow on Frankie, and he stunned him badly, and then he hit him with another punch. And I thought the ref could have let it go, because we know Frankie can withstand so much. He was definitely wobbled and, bad, but the ref decided to stop it there, which because it would have been nice to see if Frankie could have found a way to regain his wits like he did against Gray Maynard. But it was a win for Brian Ortega, first round knockout, so the first time Frankie's ever been knocked out in his career. I mean, just a huge notch on the belt of Brian Ortega. 14-0 now, and he will be fighting for the title. And that will be such a good fight, Ortega and Holloway. It'll be an amazing fight. So look forward to that, definitely. And, what a great win for Ortega. I guess maybe he will be champ before, I thought. That was the co-main event. And then the main event of the evening, Chris Cyborg against Yana Kunitskaya. Like I said, Kunitskaya's outmatched. I mean, she lost to Tanya Evinger a few bouts before. Somebody that Cyborg just destroyed. Kunitskaya just looked scared, and I even read an article about her. She said she was very nervous. She looked totally frightened in there. I mean, right off the bat. Cyborg, the wind from Cyborg's punch almost knocked her out right away. And then, almost like a miracle, Kunitskaya actually reached down and grabbed Cyborg and took her down and actually almost got on her back, like somewhat got on her back. And it was like about 15 seconds, but you knew that she had to just go all out right there, because if Cyborg turned around, got up, did anything, this fight was over. And that lasted about 20 seconds, where it looked like Kunitskaya might be able to get something, and although I wouldn't believe it, but she tried, and then, Cyborg turned around, and then again, Yana just looked scared, and Cyborg just hit her, and she just had nothing for Cyborg. She didn't want to take that beating. Dana White said after the fight, my prediction on that was, of course, the second round TKO, and it ended up being a first round. I thought Yana would have more heart than that. I knew she'd get beat down and outpowered, but she just was covering up after she got hit, and she didn't want to take her hands away from her face to get hit while she was trying to do anything, so there was no chance for her to win that fight. So after the fight, like I said, Dana White was saying that Amanda Nunes and Cyborg should fight. That'll be a good fight. I think that's an exciting fight, because one, there's not really anybody left that can do anything, and Cyborg's cleaned it all out. Everybody that's even decent skill levels either way too small. Even like, Kunitskaya, she's coming up a weight class. Like, you're fighting somebody who's big for their weight class, and Cyborg probably at 25 pounds. It didn't even look the same. Just kind of like the Frankie Edgar, Brian Ortega fight. Like, Ortega looked way bigger than Frankie. Cyborg, it just looked way bigger than Kunitskaya. So, but Cyborg against Nunes will be a good fight. Because Nunes has that punching power, so that'll keep Cyborg honest. We've yet to see anybody really with striking power hit Cyborg, because Holly Holmes hit Cyborg, but Holly Holmes is more of a tactical puncher, points you, get you. She hits decent, but she's not the power. Nunes definitely has more power. I still think Cyborg will win that fight. She's just too much everywhere, but you never know with knockout power. If there's a girl that can do it, it could be Nunes, because there's nobody else I see. I don't know of anybody who really, has that way. So as far as my predictions, I was 2-3. Another poor card. That's why I'm not betting on that. Too much wild cards and too much, the UFC and stuff. You never know when somebody shows up not well or sick or hurt. Or, they were saying that O'Malley probably was hurt before the fight. His leg was messed up. You never know. I don't know. So that's it for that one. Next UFC next month, 223, and be some good fights on there. And we'll definitely review that before it happens. So back on to the more serious matters. So we had, everyone knows the Las Vegas shooting, right? We're about almost 6 months out now. We're at almost a half-year mark. And we still have all these unanswered questions, no motive still, not even a word. It's been silenced. Just thinking about the idiot sheriff in Florida, Israel, he just kind of reminds me of the dope in Vegas. Just these guys lying to you, dishonest. There was a 40-man SWAT team we know that was on hand in Vegas. Yes, that's what we heard. No answers to what happened with that and how it wasn't reacted to sooner. Stephen Paddock, the government knew about him beforehand, but what did they know? I mean, they had caught him up in some traces, some telephone, the good old listening to communications. And like I said, they had his phone come up on wire intercept, so it had to do with money to foreign people. Maybe Mueller can get on that investigation and get some answers. So why was the homicide team pulled off of the case? And who really is investigating the case? I mean, we've not got no answers on anything. Who in Vegas is investigating this case? Still nothing, no solid theories, no solid anything on why there were two shooter positions. Now we know that the one door was closed in between the two shooter positions, and he was locked out, Paddock, on the one side that he was on. So why would he have two shooter positions and lock himself out on one if he was the only shooter? Why was Paddock in that hotel room, and how did he get in that hotel room under his girlfriend's name for the first few days? I mean, when you rent a room, your name has to be on it. You're showing your ID to pay for it. How is it that it was under his girlfriend's name for the first few days that he was there? So why were there helicopters present that didn't show up on the radar? That was another big question. There were helicopters flying in the area that everybody's seen, but their flight paths and all that stuff that's supposed to be documented wasn't on there. What happened to Campos, right? Disappeared. We know he did the interview with Ellen DeGeneres. Not a word from this guy, though. He took off to Mexico. Like, why would they let him, the guy that was the witness to the hugest manslaughter, shooting in America, and they just let this guy go off like, oh, you want to go on vacation? No problem. Get back to us when you want to. How is that even possible? And what happened to the girlfriend, Mary Lou Danley? I mean, we haven't heard a word about her. We know she knows. Her fingerprints were on the bullets. We have enough to arrest her already. Why isn't she arrested? Why was she allowed to travel around too? Why is she still free? I mean, she knew. She lied. You can even just listen to what she said. Her story doesn't make sense. I didn't know anything. Oh, but you might find my fingerprints on the bullets because I helped them load the guns. How many guns you helped them load? Oh, my boyfriend, he didn't really have any guns, but I helped him load 20 machine guns. Or, yeah, I didn't know what he was doing. I thought he was trying to break up with me, and he just gave me $130,000 and a plane ticket. Oh, that sounds realistic, because that's what people do when they try to break up with you. I mean, her story never made sense. So I just want to touch base on that because we definitely promised we keep in tune with that. And I'm going to do some more research on that. Maybe we'll get some decent answers for next week on Vegas, or at least some more theories. Because, like I said, we're half a year out, and we don't really have much on it. There's nothing new. I mean, it's pretty much taken out of the news. I mean, It's just insane that it's just been pretty much deleted from history almost. I mean, Vegas, the place where they have more cameras than anything, and all of a sudden the MGM is the only casino in America that has no cameras. Speaking of cameras and surveillance video and stories that we were going to keep an eye on, if you all know if you remember, especially from Arizona, Brian West. Surveillance videos obtained by the Phoenix News Times at one point, they contradicted what a Channel 12 news reporter, the broadcast was, vandalized Confederate Memorial at the Arizona State Capitol. Brian West was there. He was reporting with his team. It was early morning, like 4:40 a.m. at the West Bowling Plaza, and the news van arrived, and there was a guy waiting there with a bicycle by the statue. And then the news van arrives, lights turn on, the lights are shining, and then the guy with the bicycle comes up, spray paints it, and walks right in front of the van, literally drops his bike, picks up his bike at 4:40 a.m.-ish, around there. Now it's probably about 4:50 a.m., picks up his bike, and just strolls right past this van with the lights on. Now, of course, anybody with common sense asks, one, if this guy's there to vandalize the statue, why does he not do anything? Because there was camera footage. And I think that's one thing these guys didn't take into account when they set this stunt up. Because remember, this was back in the heat of Confederate statues, and we're going to take them down and do all this stuff. So you have this guy with a bike, with a can of spray paint. He's not doing anything. Okay, maybe it's not the right time. And then all of a sudden, a van pulls up at 4:40 in the morning. A news van, I'm sure you could clearly see what it is, shining its light on the statue. And you just say, now is like a good time to vandalize the statue. So he's going to spray paint for 4 straight minutes, while this van with its lights on, which is a news van, to make it more complicated, is shining the lights on, and you're going to spray paint the van. You're going to spray paint the statue then. And then when you're done, you normally on the bike, you take, I don't know. When I was a kid and I did bad stuff on a bike, I got on that bike and I pedaled real fast. But this guy dropped his bike, dropped the spray paint can, pick it up, put it back, walks his bike, no big deal. I don't think anybody in this van's coming out to get me. And then they asked all the people in the van, the news guys, we were out in the back setting up. And then we chased him off after we saw him leave. Yeah, after he dropped his bike, stood there. Pretty much he could have shook his hand, and then he walked away. So, like I said, that happened a while back, locally here in Arizona at the West Bowling Plaza in Phoenix, and we still don't have, any more information on it. DPS said that it's an open and active investigation. How many months have to go by? I mean, we're going to be closing in on, it was 7-8 months ago? I think it was August. It was last summer. 7-8 months ago, we're closing in, and we have no answers at all. It's disgraceful and disgusting. I mean, we need to expect more. We know our police out here are better, more. We are the training video. Phoenix police is the training video for riots. We are the training video to stop riots, right? Remember, that was the best video in riot history when Trump was out here. And I remember I had to drive almost right by there to go to the radio station. That's when I was doing my show at the radio station in Phoenix. And it wasn't too far away. And that imbecile was taking the tear gas, like grenades or bombs, whatever you want to say, and he was throwing them back at the police. And then the police just hit him right in the sack with one of those things. That was one of the best videos ever. That was just awesome. That's what you get when you throw stuff at the cops. You get bagged in the bag. So that'll teach you a lesson. What do you expect from these clowns? So now locally, we could stay locally here in Arizona. We all know that we got through the Great Recession that they had, and every year we're raising the minimum wage out here in Arizona. And actually, some towns, kind of like Flagstaff, even their minimum wage is even higher. So what is it? It's like $11 now, because it's 10.50 out here. It's going to go to 11 at the end of this year, and it's just going to keep on going up. But Flagstaff's minimum wage is slated to move up until it hits $15.50 in 2020. So studies have shown that in Arizona, the minimum wage, it's going up to $15 an hour, and it's predicted that the result of that, remember, this is with the economy and what they knew, the economy is better now than it was. It's going to result in the loss of 200,000 jobs. And which jobs are these? Who are these impacting? Well, we know who it is. It's the lowest skilled workers, just people that, and, for most of us, it doesn't impact us as far as being the workers. I don't even know if low skill is the right word. It's kind of like entry level jobs is more of what it is. So people that work at the McDonald's, that's their first job. Your kid when they're in high school and they want to earn some cash, when they have some free time and they go to work at a job, those jobs are going to be gone. The guy that just does carts at the grocery store, that job's going to be gone. Those jobs that your kids can go to and start out at and earn some money and save up for a car, save up for college, learn work ethic, because that's where it starts. You bag those groceries, you clean up the messes. That's where your work ethic starts. That's where you learn skills, you meet people. It's invaluable what you're learning, and those will be the jobs that are going to be gone. Raising the minimum wage, it always alters employment opportunities, far into the future. It'll, encourage the industries to rely heavily on low wage labor, to seek technology in place of it. You see kiosks going up everywhere. Why are they doing that? Those kiosks aren't cheap. You think it's cheap to have that stuff? The technology, that thing breaks. You're paying somebody $200 an hour if that thing breaks. But why? Because it's cheaper. It's not only the hourly wage, but you got to understand is when you're paying hourly wage and that goes up, you're paying that employee that, plus the taxes you're paying on the employee. Plus, employees need benefits, so you're paying for all that stuff. At the end of the day, instead of paying somebody the $15 that you're paying them with all the fees and the government's take on it, and if they're going to give you any benefits, you're making over $20 an hour. That's just not sustainable for places, that they're going to charge $2 to $3 for a cheeseburger. Their only other option is raise that price. And when you raise that price, especially at that end, who's going to go out to McDonald's for a $15 Happy Meal when you can just go to a sit-down restaurant and get your kid a $12 to $15 kids meal at a steakhouse or something? They just don't get it. More than half of minimum wage workers, they're between 16 and 24, like I'm saying, and 79% of the part-time workers live in households, where the family income average is 65 grand. So it's not people rich, it's not people, these are just entry-level jobs, and some of the people are just maybe your spouse's job. You work somewhere full-time and they work somewhere part-time just to make that extra money, but this way you can both be available for the kids. Again, Flagstaff, their liberal policies already are hurting them, but this just makes it worse. Sad. Minimum wage increase is just the only person who ever benefits out of them. We know it's the government, because they get the more in taxes, and they get to tax the business more on what they have to pay more. They get to tax you as a person more because you've earned more. And unfortunately, it is what it is. So I don't know if you guys heard South Africa. They want to cut the throats of whiteness. They're just a full-on assault of the white people. That's the kind of country they are. It's just really bad over there, and sad. They're taking people who had farms, and they're just going to do themselves in as a country. We've seen this before in history, where you kill everybody you don't like, and then you find out a lot of those people were the workers. You're taking over their assets, their farms, and what do? You run it into the ground, and then what happens? 10 years from now, everything on the land, you're not producing anything, and it just gets worse, and you're killing more people. and then you're begging to the UN for food and you need help. We've seen this before play out in other countries. Sad but true. I mean, 15 years down the line, South Africa will be a worse mess than it is now, and it'll be like a fourth world country. And they'll be begging the UN for food. Help us out. We don't know what happened. We used to have farms here and this and that. Yeah, well, you killed all the workers, and now the free loaders run wild. So, I know you guys should know, I mentioned this lady's a loose term, but Linda Sarsour. She was arrested this week at the U.S. Capitol. She was at a Speaker Paul Ryan's house or office, whatever, on Monday, demanding Ryan meet with her and other protesters for the current inaction on DACA. Which is funny. If you want to go to somebody's office and protest, it should be Chuck Schumer's office, Nancy Pelosi, Dianne Feinstein, Kamala, all those people that talk about DACA but don't do anything. They turned down the deal that would have made all these people legal. That's people's office she needs to go to. But of course she isn't. She was, a front head figure for, kind of like they used that, what was the loon ball wacko they used, and they used to plant her, I can't remember her name, but they used to plant her in front of George Bush's ranch house all the time, and they used that chick, and then all of a sudden, when Obama came, they just discarded her like a piece of dirty toilet paper. Anyway, whatever her name was, her son had died, sadly, in the war, and they used her and threw her out like a dirty piece of toilet paper. Didn't even flush her, they just threw her in the trash. And, Linda Sarsour is just the same way. She just wants to be known. She wants to be outspoken Muslim activist of Sharia law, though. But if you ever look at this chick, just when she was in cuffs, just the evil that's in her face. You remember the pictures of the couple from San Bernardino, and you look at that lady, just the evilness in the face. Sometimes you get the criminals, Loeffner, and you look at the pictures of their face, and you could just tell this person's drugged up, or they're just a nothing soul. And then there are the other ones, like Linda Sarsour, just the evil in her face. You can tell it. You can tell it. You can't even trust her around the toddler. You can just tell the evil that she has. It's just pure evil look in her face. There's nothing that matched it. There's a picture of her when she was getting cuffed. Just her looking forward. Just the evil. I just can't even explain it. Now, what did Obama talk about how he wasn't corrupt again this week? The most corrupt president in U.S. history. So many criminals and crime. And, remember when, if you want to talk Russia collusion, how good old Obama said this was his last election. And don't worry. Tell Vlad I'll be more flexible. I'll be more flexible after this election. You want to talk about Russian collusion? That's it right there. He was tell Vlad, his personal friend. Yeah. So we had Barbara Streisand, of course. Another one of her. I don't know. The Yoko Ono of the modern times, Barbara Streisand. She talked to senators from Michigan and Wisconsin, and she was saying that, when Bush was president, they were playing games with the voter machines. So who's playing games? Because Trump didn't have anybody there to play games, firstly. And then secondly, all the senators from those states, and if you know anything, there were 4, all denied they've ever even talked to Barbara Streisand. But she'll claim and put it in the paper like the Variety that the election was rigged. She's talked to senators. Does Barbara Streisand even know what a senator is? Yeah. Maybe she thought she was talking to the Minotaur from Dungeons and Dragons. Who knows with her? But whichever. Now we learned this week, of course, FBI agent Peter Strzok knew about the potential breach in the Hillary Clinton server and never followed up. Of course not, because they didn't care until they had to care because the beans were about to be spilled. And we know that, moving back on to California, that Oakland mayor who was protecting the sex offenders, the child sex offenders, she's done it in the past. She loves criminal activity. That's it. I mean, I don't know why Jeff Sessions should just lock her up. We don't need to investigate anything. Like anybody else, it would be an accessory. If you're a parent of a kid and the cops are coming and you tell your kid to get out and you block the door so the cops can't get in and your kid gets out, and by the time the cops get in, your kid's long gone, you would be arrested for obstruction of justice. You would be arrested for aiding and abetting a fugitive. And that's exactly what the mayor of Oakland should be arrested for. Aiding, abetting, and there's your obstruction of justice. Maybe we got to call Robert Mueller so he could get on it. Now, I can't wait, like we were talking before, I was talking about how a good lawyer can come in and sue some of these social media websites because they can talk about the reasonable expectation. When you're on your front lawn, you're out in the public, you don't have that. When you're in your bathroom, you have that reasonable expectation of the privacy. So I can't wait till a lawyer gets smart enough and they're going to be in a courtroom, and it'll probably work in California. And most other places, they'd probably kick you out of court. But, Your Honor, my client admits he robbed the bank, but assesses his equal protection rights were violated. And the judge, how so? Well, the mayor of Oakland failed to notify him that the police were coming. I mean, it's just that simple. You'll see some lawyer try to use that, Sorry, but my client wants equal protection. Just like the Oakland mayor gave all those criminals. They were told, because she knew, they were told ahead of time, get out of the way, police are coming in. And a bank robber, anybody else robbing anything. Hey, I wasn't told that the cops might come here. The mayor of Oakland didn't tell me. She told the other criminals. How come she didn't tell me? I want my equal rights. And if you're a minority or anything else, she's racist, sexist, boom. Totally. Yeah, totally. Awesome. Now, what they have the Oscars, Grammy, Emmys, I think it was the Oscars last week, where Jimmy Schimmel, the old, I don't know, Lil Connor's Jimmy Schimmel, who used to have talent and now is just too busy being angry, crashing cars and whatnot. He urged the Oscar viewers to march for gun control. Yeah, they could have marched right outside the Academy Awards to see all these security guards with guns that you guys hire. Yeah, okay. Next, please. Yeah. So the FBI is refusing to release documents about the secret Comey-Obama meeting. I say, America doesn't need to know. So the people of America, we don't need to know. What are they hiding? We're the ones who vote for these people. We're the ones who pay them. We pay them. It's our government. And it's clear they don't care. And that's why Jeff Sessions, again, not doing his job. He needs to come in and just start arresting people. And that's the way we'll get done with all this, I don't know. I mean, that's the way we can get done with this. And then, was it the Oscars, Emmys, Grammys? I always forget. Oscars, right? So the Oscars, again, like, with the guns, of course. Where was Harvey Weinstein? He wasn't getting any Oscars this time. So, the celebrities, quote unquote, at the Oscars, lecturing us, of course, on global warming and our carbon footprint. Hey, you over there, you might work 100 hours a week, but you could bicycle to work. Yeah, it's like that schmuck What's that stupid dude from the Titanic's name? I don't even know. You see that idiot with the fucking champagne? Oops, did I just curse? Sorry. Where's the guy bleeping that at? The guy with the champagne, that idiot, and everyone's toasting, and you see that thing all over Facebook all the time. The schmuck that talks to us about global warming and our carbon footprint. And then these guys go right out and fly in their private jets, fly around the world, have parties on them. They're burning more fuel in 1 month than we do in probably 10 years. They live behind the gated communities, and they tell you not to have guns while they have armed bodyguards everywhere they go. And yeah, that's funny. This week, Maxine Waters, of course, made the news again, as she always does. And she was writing, imagine President of the United States rolling around the West Wing, disoriented, ranting, angry, carrying on, and paranoid, dreaming of public policy. It's a dangerous thing for America. Get ready for impeachment. Now, as I'm reading that, I'm thinking Maxine Waters is actually imagining she's president, because what she was explaining there is exactly what it would be like if she was president. Imagine Maxine rolling around the West Wing, disoriented, ranting, angry, carrying on, and paranoid, dreaming up public policy. It's a dangerous thing for America. Yes, Maxine, it is a very dangerous thing for America, thinking about you being the president. Very dangerous. Did you see, this week there was a Mexican man who was deported twice and had a history of arrests, but he was able to assume the identity of an American citizen and receive more than $360,000 in government benefits for nearly 4 decades in the great state of California. Yep. This guy used a fake birth certificate starting in 1980 to develop a seemingly legitimate persona. He applied for a driver's license in Cali, social security number, U.S. passport, and he just had that for 30 years, right? 37 years. 37 years he defrauded and got money. So he agreed to pay back government agencies what he stole, but could face additional fines and 12 years in prison. He'll be sentenced in May. Yeah, funny. But, yeah, ridiculous. 37 years. Can you imagine? This can happen to your children. Your kids right now, their Social Security could be built up to somebody else, and you won't know yet. And then when your kid turns 18, it's not like you're checking the stuff every year. You see, or little things happen, you won't know. And then your kid turns 18 and he or she wants to get their first thing. And guess what? They get turned down. Why'd they get turned down? Somebody's been using their identity and their credit's already bad. Before they start the game, they're already out of the game. Sad again. Sad state of affairs. But, of course, what do we need a safe border for, right? One thing that came out back to UFC, I guess we'll close out on a good note, or, a kind note to show that people are human beings. And as UFC fighters, for me personally, I hated Frankie losing. I like Brian Ortega. I think, like I said, he'll be champ one day. He's an awesome fighter. I root for him all the time, but obviously not against Frankie. I'm a big Frankie Edgar fan. But, the amazing things, like even Conor McGregor said Frankie's career deserved for the fight to be against him. Respect Frankie, love, and respect always a true fighter's fighter. That was nice for McGregor, who's, usually out of control, to say something nice about Frankie. And even Max Holloway said you had nothing to gain for taking the fight tonight, but you took it, you defended already what you'd earned, which was the fight against Holloway. There was no belt for sacrificing everything, but true fans and Jersey, no belt can outshine what you bring to the sport. And chin up, brother. So, really classy by Max Holloway to say that. He could have not really said anything. Obviously he was scheduled to to fight Frankie, and now he'll be fighting Ortega. But I mean, just really show of class. I was, if any silver lining came out of that, besides the Frank, I knew Frankie would be back, but just the fact that so many fighters were just really respectful to him and nice. I mean, Frankie's never complained. He's always been a class act. He's always, showed up, fought, given the fans their money's worth, win, lose, or draw. And, I'm happy that people treated them good like that. So, next week, we'll get back to our Tuesday show. Wednesday's a bit different. I don't know. Maybe one time we will change around, and maybe we'll do some live shows somewhere too, and traveling a bit. But thank you for listening to Reality Check on our Wednesday edition. Hope you guys have a great week, and I'll actually be back this time in 6 days. Love, peace, and no hairs.